Would you ever fall in love with a young nigga like myself? And I've been thinking about you, nobody else. And my love is good for the
What's up, y'all? It's another Say So TV. Now, today I wanted to go ahead and cover the infamous topic that I have been hinting to on numerous videos about the black home and how most of us was raised by single parents and in poverty. And I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know exactly what it is that the problem is with that, okay? Y'all don't seem to know. Y'all think everything is normal that y'all do. So I'm gonna go ahead and let it be, I'm gonna go ahead and really explain it and give y'all some examples and an understanding as to why that is such a problem, since y'all think because there's so many good single mothers that it's not that big of a deal. Okay, yeah, let me go ahead and put y'all up on some game. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all watch this video that refers to what I'm talking about, and then we'll be right back, all right? So stay tuned. And the reason why I'm making this video also is so that we can go into the new year with everybody being more self-aware of their toxic traits and their issues and their childhood traumas that they have not dealt with, okay? And I'm about to expose to y'all how unnormal this is and what we're really just dealing with, the product of the 90s movement of single mothers. We're all dating the dudes that grew up from all these single mothers, bro. All right, so yeah, that's why I'm gonna play this video. Stay tuned. I'll be right back with y'all.
In the mid 90s, if you were alive, you got to see two things happen at the same time. The first thing you saw were elements of the old South, especially in the black community. You saw men that were speaking to each other, people who had respect for each other. Local churches were still intact. Families were still largely intact, and you got to see how things used to be. But at the same time, things were changing in black America. Hip hop and its generation, and obviously the evolution in the West Coast of the Bloods and Crips, were bringing yet another archetype into the black American society, that which was spawned by disintegrated homes and black American families. And we now see it as single parent-led homes, most notably children of single mothers. Now let me just go back to the old guard. Rewind, Nemo. Those who grew up in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, those people who had kids that time, if you got pregnant, you were a shame to the family, okay? This is real stuff. Those of you who can remember those stories, anybody who got pregnant that wasn't married, a lot of times they went back to the country to have a child, and they came back with the kid, and the kid was raised by the family. About the time 1995 came, and years subsequently thereafter, it was really appreciated in black America. In fact, you go on social media and you were hearing people congratulating you for having a child or getting pregnant. And then we started to see something else occurring at the same time. We saw something happening at the same time, and that was the over-appreciation of the single mom situation. A lot of black single moms were getting a lot of credit for being there for the kids and being there for the community, because the black men had left the community, and it got to a point where they could do no wrong. And it was celebrated. Strong black mothers, strong black women, despite the fact that, the situation wasn't looking good for the community as a whole, but we never talked about that. We only talked about the fact that the black man wasn't there, and he's the reason why it's going down. But let me talk about this, because in this situation that I'm talking about in this video today, a white psychologist or psychotherapist has brought out some information that we all know too well, and it has some people in the bunch. I'll play this clip and then I'm gonna come back.
77% of white kids in the US grow up with married parents. 88% of Asian kids. 62% of Hispanic kids. 38% of black kids. That's not blaming black moms. That is acknowledging that, only 38% of black kids in this country have the benefit of married parents in their home. That gap in family structure will continue to perpetuate advantage and disadvantage across the generations. Many people don't want to touch this topic, or they're writing me off as a scold because they don't want to go back to stigmatizing single moms. And hopefully you would agree with your assessment of my book. I am not stigmatizing single moms in any way. But do people want to promote a social convention of dads if you have a child? Don't disappear, right? That seems like a behavior we might be okay stigmatizing, right? Like not being committed. to helping the mom or the child?
Now, these are the facts. These are just the kids that come out of these communities. But I want to deal with something else. Remember I told you that the women from the black community that were single moms were often praised? Yeah, because this situation for me was also the same. When I was coming up as a young man, I thought it was an honor to meet a woman's child. I thought it was an honor to be a stepdad. I thought that was something that was really prideful. You know, woman as a kid, wow, that must mean that she could be a good wife because she has a child. And I used to hear things similar to what you're going to hear in this next clip.
What's good, Snap? Derek Jackson here again. So I just saw a comment on one of my YouTube videos, the one about why it takes a grown-ass man in order to date a single mom. In fact, the comment was a challenge. This brother challenged me to name one benefit to dating a woman with children. And while I do love challenges, this isn't one at all, but I shall oblige. Before I get started, let me say this. The benefit or the benefits to dating a woman with children do not equate to disadvantages or a knock against a woman without children, so no shade intended with any of this. So the first of several benefits to dating a woman with children is that she likely already is used to cooking without anybody having to beg her because she has a child that needs to eat, right? So one, she's no stranger to a kitchen, but two, she's no stranger to spending within the budget instead of being financially irresponsible because most women with children, they've had to make a dollar stretch at some point. So that means when times get tight, you're not going to have to lecture her about not spending money on BS. She already has first things first, which is survival. So she's already developed financial discipline. The third benefit to dating a woman with a child is, she's the least likely to be running in and out these clubs every day of the week because most guys there just want to come home and smash and she can't have random dudes coming in and out her house. The fourth benefit is she's not going to be judgmental like a lot of men and women are or automatically turned off because you have a child, unless, of course, you don't claim or do right by that child. Number 5, you get an upfront preview of what kind of mother she would make to y'all kids. So, her child is a reflection of her. If that child is well-mannered, well-fed, well taken care of, then that's what she'll give to yours.
But here's the real reality. We all know the reality on the ground for kids coming out of single-parent homes. And we've heard what happened with the blacks in comparison to the Hispanics and to the whites. But let's talk about the realities for these women that have these children and how do the men feel about dating those ladies. I'll tell you what a lot of guys talk about in private. When a lot of brothers deal with ladies that are either single moms or come from single parent homes themselves, what do we believe? I'll tell you what a lot of brothers believe. A lot of brothers believe that just like these kids, it's kind of difficult getting into relationships with them because number one, they've never seen a man. And a lot of times in these relationships, there's a lack of respect in these relationships towards men. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, towards men. I know she's talking about kids, but I want to talk about why those kids don't have a father or a stepfather. And that could be because in the pairing of the relationships, a lot of men feel like these women don't want to listen. A lot of women in these relationships lack discipline. They do whatever they want when they feel like it. There's no accountability in these relationships. So this is why you see a lot of the things happening over and over again. And of course, that lack of accountability gets passed on to the children. But yet in Black America, we egg this on. We believe that this is quite okay. And this is not to take shots at single parents or single fathers or single moms. But the reality is this: Black people are not winning like we think we are. With these numbers, we are losing and losing bad. And then what is the incentive for Black men to say, I want to get in the game and jump myself into what's happening here? It would be nice for those people who want to do it. And some people can do it. Some brothers can get in the game and some brothers can have an effect on somebody's child's life or be a stepdad or something like that. But the reality is that a lot of guys don't see any real reason why they should, especially when a lot of the single moms out there feel like nothing is their fault. I've been on so many dates with single mothers in the Black community or just talk to them. And when you talk to them and have these discussions, nothing is their fault. Just go to that particular clip on It's On Site. You will literally see for yourself all of the people who are talking down on that particular lady, making excuses for everything. And that's what happens in Black America whenever you want to bring some level of facts. And I know we could talk about the racism happened and all of that. And I'm not disagreeing because we know that racism does affect Black America and it always has. But we don't want to talk about our bad decisions, which infects Black America. That's something that we never want to talk about because talking about that would mean that you would need to take some accountability. And a lot of times when you see people coming from the 2-parent homes, I will give them this much credit. There's more accountability in those children. That's why they perform better. You know, that's why when you see Latinos and whites and even black parents that are married, they have accountability. Accountability. That's what it is. There is accountability. But a lot of times in the single parent homes and the children coming from those societies, you know, it's blame this person, it's blaming that person. And that's what you see in Black America today. And you see it in most of the people who are in the Democratic black parties. It's a lot of unaccountability. It's never about what you can do to change your situation. It's always blaming other people. And that is what is disheartening when you get into these relationships in Black America with such people, whether it's mentoring, whether it's really serious, whether it's anything like that or not. And what happens is a lot of talented blacks, once they get to where they're going, they decide that they don't want anything to do with Black America, largely because of this thinking. And I know I'm not the only person to believe this, because many of you guys have said the same goddamn thing. But of course, Black America will continue to go in the way it is, the way it has been, down the drain with that thinking. But God.
All right, cool. So now that we watched that, now let me go ahead and hit on why that video is so relevant to our community. Okay. So just to start off, I understand that basically what you guys do that is hindering you guys from relationships is just a defense mechanism. So I'm going to put it this way. Every little thing that you guys do to defend yourself from being hurt, to protect yourself from being used and abused, it will cause you to end up single. And I'm about to tell you why, okay? Now, first I'm going to just say why I understand why y'all are the way y'all are and what's going on, okay? First, I just want to let y'all know it's a natural response to it, okay? It's a natural response to growing up in a toxic environment, a abandoning environment where you were not really dealt with, where your parents was ignoring you, when it was uncertain. Basically, you didn't know when your next meal was going to come, basically growing up in poverty, right? And then also abuse or verbal abuse, etc., right? So because now I've realized and I've learned that most Black people have been raised in these kind of environments. When y'all grow up and y'all get out into the real world, y'all develop these self-defense mechanisms that prevent you from being hurt, from being abused, for being used, for being treated like you were when you were younger, or going through poverty or anything like that, struggling like how you was when you was younger, right? Basically, y'all, I'm pointing it out right here on this video that we're all just dating each other's cloth that we was cut from. We think we really just gain personalities, like this is just who we is, when nah, you're really a product of what you were raised, your family, the home that you was brought up in. Like, you as a child is who you really, like, basically look at like the person you are, and the person you're dating is dating each other's childhood traumas. Y'all both dating each other's kid inside of you. The little boys and the little girls that's inside of you, deep down inside, that's who your partner's dating. Okay, so if you don't deal with that and get that little boy and that little girl inside of you to be healthy and be happy and be understanding of what's going on and how to maneuver in this world in a healthy way, you're going to cause a lot of heartache, and you're also going to cause a lot of dysfunction. You're going to basically just perpetuate what you've been through all your life. You know what I'm saying? And subconsciously, a lot of the times, y'all don't even do this shit on purpose. You know what I'm saying? So, basically, y'all growing up in poverty in these uncertain circumstances with these single mothers, and then they also come home nagging every day because they've been working their ass off. They don't got no man. You know, they taking the shit out on you, etc., right? So what happens is you grow up, you become a grown man, and then you go out here and honestly, in the work field and with friendships, any other relationship that's platonic or just professional, this shit will work. Like your defense mechanisms, making sure people don't play you. You know what I'm saying? Like making sure people don't get over you on you. Making sure that your voice is heard, not being overheard, and not being, overlooked and, just ran over and all that, right? So it helps you when it comes to these punk ass friends who don't want to contribute, don't want to, reciprocate energy. It helps when you're in your work field. So to y'all y'all feel like y'all done actually accomplished some kind of self-love and self-esteem, but really, when you become the oppressor, or when you adapt the same traits that you were hurt by, you're just gonna do the shit to the next person, and specifically the person that you get in a relationship with. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all an example. Let's say you grow up in a uncertain environment where it was, basically poverty. You didn't know when your next meal was gonna come. You didn't know. Basically, you had to get out here and get it on your own real early. You had nobody really looking out for you, and you had to grow up very soon. So then what happens is you grow up, you get out here in the world, and you start dating dudes, and then now everything is 50-50. You make sure you don't never give more than the nigga does. And then you calculate it. You know what I'm saying? Also, you can be selfish and stingy. All right, my bad. Baby had called me. Okay, so what I was saying was, so you'll develop this defense mechanism that will prevent you from, people getting over on you and stuff like that. So, all right, let's say you'll be selfish, you'll be, and it's not intentional to hurt this person, but that's what I'm trying to point out. Like, I think a lot of y'all not understanding that your defense traits are also defending yourself against a person that has good intentions, because when you find one that has good intentions and is not on that bullshit trying to play you or nothing, now you're doing the same thing to them that all the people in your family and all that shit done did to you. You didn't like it when you was little, but you done forgot because you didn't adapt it to it. So now you doing in this next person like that. And then also another part of it is that you assume that everybody's going to be just like that because that's what you was raised around. So you assume everybody's out for themselves and, fuck you and getting over on you and all this other shit. So then you go into relationships assuming that that's how this man is going to think. And then you start being all selfish and all that other shit. And then what you don't realize is when a nigga is telling you you selfish, you thinking you just defending yourself. You don't see shit wrong with it. But you selfish. You get where I'm going with this, y'all? When you raised up under a single parent, you see a motherfucker doing everything by themselves and for themselves and for their kids, and then also disrespecting men at it. So then on top of that, just because he's a man that you're dealing with, you automatically have a subconscious thought that this nigga ain't shit. And you don't even know that. You're putting yourself in other people's shoes based on their experiences that you done heard and seen growing up, and that is not healthy either. Now, I do understand it does, the thing about all this is that there is a point in time for all this, and it's good in certain ways, but y'all don't know how to decipher it to where sometimes here, sometimes there, not with this person, but yes with this person. This person didn't show me that they worthy, but this person hasn't, so I'll give this person that energy, but not this person. Y'all don't know how to do that. Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm making this video for. Okay? And so basically, you won't be able to see what someone's saying when they saying that this is a problem. You think that they trying to attack you. So y'all be feeling attacked a lot. Okay? That's where the victim mindset comes from, because that's why I say being in a 2-parent household, I got to see 2 people argue, work it out, sit the shit through, go into another room, and then make up, kiss later like nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? I got to see people apologize to each other, people acknowledge shit to each other. You know what I'm saying? I got to see, unity, just sitting at the table all together, eating, there's just a lot of irreplaceable stuff that comes along when you have a 2-parent household that you grow up in. And also, I feel like, everything has its pros and cons, but because I was raised with a lot of abundance, money, love. I didn't want for shit. I had a great childhood, you know what I'm saying? So and I was in an upper middle class family. So basically look at it like, I was like raised in a Bill Cosby home environment, while all the dudes I date, where I tended to date, have been Martin, like the show Martin. Like they grew up in and then probably in most of the time worse than that, because the shows show and depict a more healthier version of these kind of demographics. But Y'all get what I'm saying? These niggas come from nothing, okay? When niggas come from nothing, there's a PTSD from poverty that you have to deal with when you're dating them. You have to deal with these defense mechanisms. They think you're always trying to play them. They always think that they're the victim. They always think somebody's out to get them because they never had that childhood safety net that they were supposed to have. So where I notice a lot of issue can come in between people like us, because there's a lot of stuff that I get annoyed by. I feel like they petty because they hoard on to every damn thing that they get because they never had shit. You know what I'm saying? So you come around, you drink a soda or something that they was expecting to drink, and now all of a sudden it's a problem when there's hella sodas right at the store across the street. Like, it don't matter that I got the money to go buy it or nothing. It's just the fact that the principle, because it was yours, like, I'm not used to that. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in where it was so many sodas in the house, so much food, so many clothes, shoes, so much shit going on that I had access to. I'm generous as fuck. And that's one of the cons that it gave me being raised in that environment, because now I go up here and as I grew up and I realize I'm giving and I'm generous and I'm letting people ride in my car without asking for gas. I'm motherfucking doing shit for people, letting people come stay with me without, making them pay rent, all kinds of shit. Like, so there's, I got played a lot, so I get it. I have empathy so I can see both sides, so I can see like, okay, because I had it different, I did get used a lot, but because you had it different, you make sure you don't get used. So what happens is, in a relationship, for me, I always feel like I'm giving more, and I always feel like my love is stronger because my love is really genuine and unconditional. People who grow up in poverty with single mothers, they have a conditional love because that's what they were raised around. And then a lot of the time, the mom didn't even have enough time and energy to give y'all no attention because she was fucking tired after working all day and shit. So it's just, y'all normalize being independent, and now I get it. Now I really do get that shit, because eventually you'll get tired of like people telling you selfish, you only think about yourself, you're petty, you are victim mindseted, you're narcissistic, all this other shit. You'll get tired of that, and then you'll start to feel like, well, if I'm such a problem, then why am I even going to deal with anybody? And then that's why y'all will end up single. All right, a lot of people will not want to address this, but this is facts. I've noticed this. I was like, why a couple dudes that I've dated, they just threw in the towel, like, like nothing really happened, but they just tired of me holding them up to standards. They tired of me expecting them to treat me right. They tired, and they don't like that because they never got that shit. They never got that shit from they people. So you expecting them to do that. You seem kind of like you stuck up, or like you expect too much out of people or something, but really you expect what you're supposed to, but they're not used to seeing people give that to each other or being like that with nobody, because they come up in these toxic ass, selfish ass environments. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just give y'all an example. Like, basically, like, you gotta like teach these niggas how to motherfucking be in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? These niggas will go get something to eat, come back to the house with nothing for you and shit, because that's okay where they was from. But nigga, I looked at a nigga like, nigga, if my mama or my pops ever was to walk in the fucking crib without food for everybody, nigga, he get cussed out like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Y'all think about yourselves. Like, it kind of reminded me of like that whole when on Friday, the movie Friday in the beginning, when she was making fucking breakfast, and then Craig was like, oh yeah, mom, you making breakfast? She's like, this ain't for y'all, this for me. Like, that type of shit, I would literally leave. I could never deal with nobody like that. That shit is such a turn off. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is so selfish. I cannot deal with that. You know what I'm saying? And so I noticed that that's what it is that we dealing with. It's a bunch of selfish minds like me, who's, like, and they can't help but focus on them because nobody focused on them when they was little. So they look at it like, if I don't have my back, nobody else will. So I have no choice but to do this. So I get it. But that is the same reason why your ass ain't gonna never have no man like that. You gotta debunk that shit. You gotta go in there and yourself figure that out. Understand that there are people out here who deserve to be fucking treated unconditionally with love. Everybody is not out here just about me and what you can do for me lately and all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, people like that, I see why y'all rather be single, because at the end of the day, you really only care about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you never got the ability to even care about somebody else. So yeah, I'm basically saying like being raised by a single parent household, it will disable you from relationships. I mean, I didn't want to put it like that, but that's basically what it's coming down to until you do self-reflection and focus on your childhood traumas and fix them. Go to therapy, talk to people, go work out, do some kind of form of, meditation, something. Like, you really got to figure that out, because like with most of us being like that, that's the reason why the other percentage that aren't like that are going to still be single right along with y'all. That's why I say we all in this shit together. There's no point of pointing at certain demographics and people who were put in different positions than you and judging them when we all in this same motherfucking, in this same shit. And if they got it fucked up, well, I'm gonna be collateral damage maybe. You know what I'm saying? So even if you got it together, even if you that nigga with the nice body, fine as hell, good career, all that, because this is what we dealing with in this dating pool, nigga, you can end up collateral damage. It don't matter that you dope as fuck. You know what I'm saying? So yes, y'all, basically like this will work in every other relationship except for the romantic ones. That's the reason why a lot of gay men could be successful in many ways, but when it comes to their relationships, they fail every time. All right, and this is one of the main biggest reasons why, because it's unacknowledged. Y'all call it normal. Y'all say, oh, this is just who I am. Well, yeah, if you don't want to do nothing about it, but we all can grow. We all have the ability to grow. And honestly, if you're going to just say, oh, this is just who I am, well, then that means you don't want to work on it. And by default, you deserve whatever happens. You know what I'm saying? So my advice to people like me who love hard, gauge and make sure that you're getting that in return. And also meet people where they meet you at. Don't keep going and giving and giving and giving and then wanting them to give you back, because people don't treat people how they're treated. They treat people how they were raised and how they want to, okay? All right, so that's it for this one, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know what it is. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
No, I don't give a fuck about what anyone say. No, I don't give a fuck about what anyone say. Baby, how much I really take.